think we've done anything wrong. The delegation approved the budget, and when the delegation approves a budget, we operate within that budget. That's their prerogative. They're the ones that appropriate the money, okay? We're the ones that manage that money, okay? And with that authority, I think we had the right to use it. But I'm willing to go back to them and say, and request that they give us permission to use it out of the contingency fund.
You also said the special meeting was held
Yep.
because there was a delegation that morning.
Well, because everybody was here that
Well,
time.
wait, but why wouldn't it have been before you went downstairs to hold your special meeting in front of the delegation, say, we have a bid for $375,000 that we are going downstairs to have a special meeting and we're voting. Nothing was said to the delegation then.
They weren't in session.
Wait a minute, you
It was
said.
it was after they, I believe it was after they, who else was there?
What was that, the ninth?
Somebody, you were there, Ed was there. Were you, anybody here? No? You were there?
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason, from my perspective, that we did not go to the delegation is because I don't believe we had to go to the delegation. I believe that as commissioners, we are responsible for using the money that is in the budget to do what has to be done within that budget. From my perspective, that's what we did.
That was 3 budgets ago.
Further question? Yeah, go
That
ahead.
was almost 3 budgets. You're
It's the
talking
same-
2.5 years ago.
It's
Yeah.
the
It
same
clearly states
project.
in the RSA that the only one that has the authority is the delegation, period. It doesn't, can you show me where it says contingency fee? Or can you show me the word budget in RSA 24:13? Can anyone give me one of your words that you're using? You can't, because it's not there. You can't just add words to an RSA. You can't, and that's what you're trying to do.
Okay, that's your interpretation.
That's right.
Your
And
comment?
and my interpretation is that as business managers for the budget, whether it was a budget that started in 2009 or a budget that started in 2004, it's the same budget. It's the work that we were doing for a particular project, and I saw no reason that we had to ask to be micromanaged by the delegation. That's not their job.
The budget that was approved was $23,532. $23,532,600, and that was what was approved by the delegation to build a new nursing home. Within that budget, there's a contingency fund, and also stated in there was biomass plant operations. Now, to me, that meant that we could spend the money on the biomass. They went ahead and approved in March of 2010 the acceptance of the $400,000 grant to purchase the piping, to purchase the boilers and the piping. So,
But it doesn't say any of that in the RSA.
but it does say
Move
that
on.
they have to approve it, and they did approve it. Okay?
Any expenditure over 5,000.
No, that doesn't have anything to do with it. We asked for 23 million, whatever I just said, and that's what they approved. Every item in here, we went out to bid on, that was over $5,000. Bonnet Page and Stone wrote up the RFPs. They brought it to the Board of Commissioners at that time, and we approved individual expenditures. That's the process that we used within that. Question over here? We're gonna have to move along?
Yep, I just
Two more.
wanted to request a copy of that document before we leave.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
My understanding of what the delegation had in mind was that they were caught off guard by the $375,000 expense. It wasn't known at the time of the approval. And had they known it, at the time of the approval, they may have made a different decision.
Mhm.
so therefore it's kind of outside the scope of their approval. I'm just wondering, when exactly did the commission learn of the $375,000 expense?
When we put it.
When we put it out to bid,
And that was, what, in December, January?
No.
roughly 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Should be in our minutes.
But it was relatively recently.
I think it was December 28th, Damon.
Okay.
Okay.
So you guys were caught off guard by this cost?
We were cut off guard for the amount of the cost.
Right.
I couldn't believe that was gonna cost $375,000 myself. But when you look at the contract for the purchase of the boilers, there were exclusions in there that said that they wouldn't provide the space, the electrical hookup, the plumbing, that they're gonna attach the boilers to, okay? And theirs was to connect the boilers to the storage container, the hoppers, the pumps that are involved in the boilers. What we had to do was provide everything else, the piping and electricity, the plumbing. If you were to go to Sears and buy a washing machine, they would say, we will deliver it, we will install it, and see that it's functioning, okay? But they don't tell you, they don't plan on bringing electricity to the unit, they don't plan on bringing the plumbing from wherever it has to go to the unit. They're installing their piece of equipment, they expect to plug it in the wall, they expect the water to be connected up within that space. That's their installation. Okay? Okay, anybody else who hasn't had a chance to speak, or want to speak? If not, then we'll move on with minutes. How were we on our minutes this past week? Ashley?
Good. Bless you.
We have no non-public minutes.
No.
We have only public. So the public minutes of February 1st, 2012. Page 4. By Commissioner Kenny, all the way down, it said we have legal consultation with minutes that we need to take out. We have legal consultation in the minutes that we need to take out.
In other words, we don't take minutes
Yes,
in legal
but-
con.
You wrote a
Concept.
little different,
Yeah.
if we can change this within the, What?
I have 2 page 3s here.
page 4,
All right.
Do you have any corrections?
within
I have
the.
lots of corrections, yes.
You have?
But I'll just give you.
So Commissioner Solomon.
Okay. Are you all set
Yeah.
with your corrections? You got corrections?
Yes, I do. And I don't want to take up a whole lot of time here. So I will give you my corrections, which are merely grammatical. I'll just say that there are just things in here that are redundant, that you say once, that said twice. So I crossed those things out. But other than that,
So you want to move that we,
So you have only grammar corrections, eh? That's it?
grammar and redundancy corrections.
Okay.
And corrections to make things read better.
Yeah. So I make a motion to approve the minutes of February 1st, 2012 as corrected.
I'll second it. Any further discussion on the minutes? If not, all those in support of the minutes, approval of the minutes, say aye.
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 So voted then. Any other reports or minutes we have to approve?
We have no more minutes. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any reports you want to give?
Yeah, I have a brief report. Yesterday, I attended a meeting for the Transportation Advisory Committee on Carroll County Transit Project. And at that time, they talked about the operation of the new line, what they call the Flex line, and they reported that they were seeing some some nice use of the line, not certainly something that cannot be improved upon. They had 50 rides in Conway, 41 in the Ossipee area, and the Laconia area is a commuter line, which essentially means people from this area going to Laconia to work and back, so they only run one line a day. There was some talk about increasing that, and there was a need to increase that run so that there's more than one run a day, or one back and forth run a day. Additionally, we also talked about making it clearer as to which service we're talking about, so that the door-to-door service will be referred to as the dialer service, the dialer ride, and the other would be the flex line. They have now the door-to-door service, or the dialer ride, has cost an enormous amount of money because of the flex line not being available. So, in order to try to recoup some of that funding, some of that money, they are going to change the daily use of that bus service, and they want to change that to the North Conway bus service, which takes in the Conway, Albany, Bartlett, Jackson, that whole area over there. To do it on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Then the Tamworth bus service, which takes in, if I'm reading this correctly, Tamworth, Chicorowa, some parts of Sandwich, to operate Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. Apparently, they find that's the needs there. And then a new operation to go into effect, operating on Tuesday in Freedom and Effingham area from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. On Wednesday in the Moulton Borough, Ossipee area, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And on Thursday in the Wolfboro, Ossipee area from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Is there anything else? Okay. Following that meeting, there was a meeting of the RCC, which is the Regional Coordinating Council, and there they are trying to make clear to the public what services, transportation services, are available for the communities. And I know personally how much in need this is. My husband drives for the veterans, for the DAV, and he got a call yesterday from some agency who services the general public, but among the general public are often veterans. And this woman wanted to know if his vehicle is available to take veterans to, in this case, it was White River Junction. But the whole point being that there are still people out there, he's been doing this for 6 years, and there are still people out there who don't know that it's available. So that's what the RCC is trying to do, to get a registry of all the transportation services that is afforded to the communities in Carroll County. And to do that, they're going to need some funding. They can get the funding. It's grant funding to write this information on a flyer of sorts and a booklet. This is a 4-page thing, and give it out to various community areas in Carroll County. And they needed a fiscal agent. But they originally asked whether the county would do it. I was somewhat reluctant on taking on that project, although they would provide 5% of the grant for our paperwork. But nonetheless, they decided to go with either the Lakes Region Council or Northern, not Northern, North Country.
Country Council.
North Country Council. So one of those will be, and this is a small view of what the brochure will look like. And it has facts about bus service and why it's needed and what kind of, what services will be available. So, that's it.
Do you have anything you want to report?
No.
No. Instead of some of the things that I've got listed here, we've got people waiting, so I'm going to move right into Jason Johnson. We got several items to talk about later. Morning.
This morning's report, current population, we have 59 in-house, 1 weekender, 10 transfers, 3 out on electronic monitoring, 13 on pre-trial release, total population of 86. We took in 16 inmates last week, 9 were repeaters and 10 were released. The repeater charges, 1 came in for protective custody, booked 2 times this year, 1 for bench warrant and arrest warrant, booked 3 times in 3 years. 1 for theft by deception, ×2, receiving stolen property, ×3, booked 2 times in 3 years. 1 for criminal mischief, booked 4 times in 3 years. 1 for an arrest warrant in breach of bail, booked 9 times in 12 years. 1 for criminal mischief and protective custody, booked 6 times in 6 years. 1 for operating after suspension, operating after suspension, theft by unauthorized taking, ×2, booked 7 times in 9 years. 1 for resisting arrest, disorderly conduct and protective custody, booked 7 times in 20 years. 1 for driving under the influence of alcohol, breach of bail, ×2, and operating after suspension, booked 2 times in 2 years. The report that former Representative Wiley requested has been completed and emailed to her on Monday. After last week's session with National Institute of Corrections, they're going to be conducting a WebEx, which is scheduled for next Wednesday at 1400 hours. And Kevin will be sending out invitations to that. You can view it from your computer at home or come to the facility and you can see the webinar there. Last night we needed to send out an inmate to the hospital at the request of one of the physicians at the facility. He was cleared and returned to the facility last night. That's all I have.
Did you get an estimate for a perimeter fence?
I have just the ones that we received in October. Nothing official has been received since then, based on
Okay.
those
How many did
RFPs.
we get?
I received 2.
2?
Mm-hmm.
And that is strictly for the perimeter fence plus the fixing up of the exercise yard?
Yes.
They're tied together?
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, no. So
Separate?
they're separate.
Any idea what how many bids did we get on fixing up the exercise yard?
We just received 1,
1 bid?
and that was 6,600, I think, 6,600.
Okay. What's your recommendation?
Well, if we haven't received any other bids, I would say award it to that.
Did we
one.
advertise properly?
I believe so.
How long was the bid out?
2 weeks.
And this fence company is from where?
North Conway.
North Conway.
Mm-hmm.
Did they put up the original fence?
No,
No.
no. I can't recall who did that. That was part of the construction.
Part of the
so,
contract,
Yeah, I don't know who did that.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Well, I think we really need to see the paperwork on it.
Want to take more time? Rebid it? What do you think, Ashley?
Do you have it with you, the paperwork?
Do I have a
You
copy?
got- Yeah.
I have the bid that I received back in the office at the facility, and I can produce the RFP that went out. I don't have that with me
Oh,
this
okay.
morning, but I
And
can,
how many bids again did we get?
based on the RFP that was sent out, we only had that one bid that was received,
And what was it again for? How much?
between 6,400 and 6,600, I believe.
Well, it's over
Was that the one-
$5,000, so it's
Was
gotta
that the
go
one
up.
you brought in original, was that
Yes.
brought in?
I think we can move forward with it.
You want to accept that bid?
Yeah.
You want to accept that bid?
Well, if it's the only thing we have no alternative.
All
It's
right.
gotta be done.
Can you get us the exact figure on that bid?
Yes, I can.
Could we make a motion not to exceed, you think it was 6,000 something?
Yeah, between 6,400 and 6,600.
Yeah, can you bring that for us?
Yes,
so
I'll
I can
go back
see
and get
what
it,
is?
and bring it right over.
You want to wait to make a motion to accept the bid?
Yeah, till he bring
Okay.
in the
Okay,
appropriate paperwork.
okay. Did we have a report, that one came into the sheriff. Did you finish the internal report on the escape?
Yes.
You did?
Mhm.
Okay,
You want a copy of that?
yep. And would you check with the sheriff to see if, what was his name, McNamara? No.
Superintendent O'Mara?
O'Mara, yeah. See if his external report is finished.
What about the bid on the wall?
Okay, we had two bids that come in on the wall. You didn't see either one of them, or did you?
I did not, Commissioner.
Okay. One was Bonapage and Stone for $16,800, and the other one was from Batandi out of Rochester, New Hampshire, for $9,013. So there's a difference of about almost $8,000 between the two. I don't know this, does anybody know this outfit? Would you check and see if we can get 3 references as to the type of work that they do? I
Do they
don't,
include something in?
they don't,
Nothing in there?
no.
And given, I think given the discrepancy, we want to make sure that they're bidding on the same thing. That will be necessary.
Yeah. I'm gonna give these back to you. I think you should check on that one and find out, make sure that they are both bidding on the same RFP,
Okay.
okay? At the present time, we're not using the exercise yard, right? Okay. Do you have anything else?
No, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Sandy?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This morning's census at Mountain View Community is 103. We have 19 private pay residents, 7 Medicare residents, 7 pending Medicaid residents, and 70 Medicaid residents. Over the past week, I've contacted one of our master gardeners, Kim Espinoza, and I'm waiting for a call back. Now, we're just trying to get the neighborhood gardens, the plans and what we're going to
Okay.
be doing in the spring. And
Yeah.
I realize that we're early into February, but we really need to understand what we're planning for.
Regarding the, well, it's landscaping, I'm putting together a list of all the plant material, the large shade trees, the hemlocks, the sugar maples, the red maples, lilacs. And what I'd like to do is put that out on an RFP to the paper and to all the local nurseries, so that they could bid on it and include the planting of them. This is the big, not the garden areas or the small shrubs around the nursing home. It's all the big plants, so that, my understanding is that these nurseries, we don't grow anything here. It's what is left over, that it's all ordered in and resold. And if they can add on to their list, it might help them out. They might give us a little better price if it's a mass order and it's delivered all at one time versus us going to some big company in Massachusetts is where they get a lot of their materials, or even in southern New Hampshire. So I hope to do that within the next 2 weeks and get that information out, see if we can get the bids back, how much it's gonna cost and so forth.
Okay.
That will take care of the larger plantings, and that would be done first thing this spring. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's great. So I'll let you know what Mrs. Espinoza has to say, and then hopefully we can get a group together
Okay.
for our first meeting.
I think if she, I think we ought to have the horticulturist from the Cooperative Extension, and if both of those could look over the plans, there may be some adjustments that could be made, especially to the gardens. The gardens were very, very expensive.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll do that. Our medical director, Dr. Eric Lewis, will be away for 5 months, starting mid-March through, I believe, August 21st. Dr. Donald Rose, who has been seeing residents in our nursing home, so he's very familiar with our home, will be covering in his absence. And I've already notified the Department of Health and Human Services, so that is taken care of as
Good.
far as where we are. 2 weeks ago, we talked a little bit about the old building and the equipment in there. We have moved there was a faux fireplace in the lobby, and the residents wanted it into their home, and that has been moved.
Where'd you put it?
In the...
Multi-purpose room?
The great room, right. It's under the television right now.
Okay,
But,
on that wall?
They wanted to see it, and there it is. I don't know if they'll ask to have it moved, but right now they're happy with the placement. We're also...
It's not functional, right?
Non-functional,
Okay.
correct. There's also another piano in the home, the old home, which had been donated, which will be moving in the next week or two.
And that's going in a multi-purpose room?
No,
No?
one of them will probably be going up onto the second floor, where one of the residents is an active musician and would like to have it up
Oh.
there, so.
Nice.
Then the old exam table, I think there was quite a bit of discussion about that, and we did contact the Remick Museum, and they're interested in this,
Mhm.
and I look for your approval on that.
Yep.
Okay. And then the kitchen equipment, there had been discussion with several types of vendors, and one was an auctioneer. And it seems most promising if we could, and I'm sure that we have to contact auctioneers to who would want to do that, but speak to an auctioneer regarding auctioning of the kitchen equipment, so that they would have the target market would be those that would be interested. Advertisement would be done by the auctioneer themselves, and it seems as though we would do better with that than to try to.
And they get a
sell.
percentage
I'm
of the sale,
I'm sure there's a
right?
percentage, yes. But I'm open for your ideas again, but that appeared
Okay.
with Rob talking to others, some people said, it's not worth anything. I think we see it, we believe that there's value
And
there.
stainless steel tables and so forth, they ought to be worth something. So who's going to do that? Look into the auctioneers?
Rob and
Right.
Bob would be
And Bob.
looking at both of them together,
Okay.
would be looking at the
We have
auctioneers.
two, one in Tamworth and one right here in Ossipee, right, auctioneers?
Well, we'd like to approach those in Carroll
Yeah.
County,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and then make sure that we haven't left anyone out.
Yeah.
But we would probably approach them by phone or speak with them or send a letter versus advertising in the paper, unless again, that's another cost.
We have a list, don't we, of all that equipment?
I saw
I-
it recently.
I think we do, because I believe Representative Pettingill was surprised to see as much equipment left in the kitchen as we had listed. So I think I think the delegation has received that whole list, because she made
Okay.
the comment, so.